station is 6 p.m. by 6 o'clock. We thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. Right away, we move on to our major stories. Colleagues of Martinez Zogo at Amplitude FM in Yaoundé say they are still to come to terms with the brutal killing of Martinez Zogo in the nation's political capital. They say his death has left them so much traumatized 11 days after his gruesome killing. And also in this edition of the news, following an increase in the price of fuel, there are speculations that transport fare might increase in some towns across the national territory. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. We just told you in the headlines it is already 11 days since the journalist Martinez Zogo was kidnapped and brutally killed in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. 11 days after, his colleagues say they are still to come to terms with his brutal killing. They say it has left a huge void in the Amplitude FM family. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe now comes back to the circumstances of the kidnap of Martinez Zogo in Yaoundé in front of a gendarmerie.
It was on the spot, which serves as a parking lot for Amplitude FM radio located in Elik Esono, Yaoundé, that Martinez Zogo regularly parked his vehicle. The late journalist was last seen at his workplace on the 17th of January 2023. His colleagues were far from imagining that it was their last day of seeing him. After presenting the 7 p.m. news, I saw Martinez Zogo seated in a stall close to Radio House, so I went towards him. He asked me what's making news, and I said there is no major event. After chit-chatting for a while, I left. While on his way back home, the journalist, on noticing that he was being followed by some individuals, immediately stopped in front of the gendarmerie brigade located in Kolkondi to seek refuge. Unfortunately, the gate was closed, causing him to fall in a dragnet of his kidnappers. An eyewitness who wants to stay anonymous say he tried scaling the fence of the brigade to no avail. Cameroonians are wondering how the security of a citizen is not assured even while in front of a gendarmerie brigade. Attacks on journalists have become very rampant, threatening freedom of press. Journalists have been targeted on several occasions, with some of them paying with their lives. Media professionals wish they could better be protected.
And now on to this other story. Workers of Bolloré Africa Logistics went on strike today at the port here in the economic capital, Douala. They say they want to be laid off and indemnified for various reasons. A reporter for me, Armstrong Sander, was there. He now tells us more.
Decrying a violation of procedure related to their dismissal, the protesting workers say they want the application of the social jurisprudence which, according to them, accompanies the application of Section 42 of the Cameroon Labour Code. Their demand is provoked by the sale and transfer of ownership of the Bolloré Africa Logistics Group to the MSC Logistics and Transport Company.
Des négociations claires sous le couvert de la République du Cameroun avec le sceau de la République pour que les garanties obtenues soient mises en place pour ceux qui partent et pour ceux qui restent.
This section of the Cameroon Labour Code reads that in the event of any change in the legal statute of the employers, in particular through succession, sale, amalgamation, financial reorganization or transformation into a partnership or company, all contracts of employment in force on the date of the change shall subsist between the new organization and the personnel of the undertaking. They shall be terminable only in the manner and subject to the conditions laid down in these parts. Section 42B further says that the provisions of the above paragraph shall not be applicable: 1. Where the enterprise is changing its activity, and 2. Where the workers express before the labor inspector of the area their desire to be laid off with payment of their benefits prior to such change. At the office of the Bolloré Group, now MSC Group, we are told that 408 workers now protesting voluntarily subscribed to Section 42B2 above through this letter to the Labour Inspector in the city of Douala varies by expressing their desire to be laid off with payment of their benefits. The company further says it is only respecting the desire of the workers to be laid off in all legality.
Des négociations claires sous le couvert de la République du Cameroun avec le sceau de la République pour que les garanties obtenues soient mises en place pour ceux qui partent et pour ceux qui restent.
Back to the disgruntled and protesting employees, their representative agreed that they subscribed to Section 42B2 to the Labour Inspector, but said that the company is violating the procedure by pushing to lay them off without the application of social jurisprudence applicable in such a situation. She further explains that this requires a tripartite agreement involving the company, the government, and concerned workers on the terms and conditions of a final divorce, an aspect which is legally contested by the company.
And now the Ports Authority of Douala is stepping up efforts to fight congestion in the maritime sector serving the whole of the Central African sub-region, the CEMAC. Efforts to resolve the long-standing problem of congestion are set to be on the way. Babila Jonathan now tells us more about the seaport extension drive in the report which comes up next.
Over the years, congestion has been a stumbling block to internal and external trade transactions in the Douala seaport. Within the framework of efforts to solve this problem, the Port Authority of Douala is expanding the port road network and storage capacity of the maritime transport amenity.
The project is to build all the and to rebuild all the access roads of the industrial zone of Douala. And the main challenges of the access roads was that this area was very congested, and so there was one idea of the port of Douala was to create a sort of bypass road to try to decongest the traffic.
After the forceful eviction of occupants of this section of the port land in Esenge, the construction of new facilities is ongoing.
Le second projet, c'est de construire 20 000 mètres carrés de parking, c'est-à-dire 2 hectares.
The head of the Ports Department of Infrastructures, civil engineer Bat Joseph Anisse, says the project is well on course. After the reclamation of the marshy land, a major and minor road facilities and a 2-hectare parking area are being constructed to ease the circulation of vehicles and trucks and reduce congestion.
So we are covering 10 kilometers of road, and this 10 kilometers road is covering 300 hectares of platform, of logistic platform operator. And as you know, 80% of the volume that is coming from the port of Douala are going through this platform before they are dispatched to the final clients.
The construction work is executed by a Cameroonian company making use of a new technology.
This new technology is a blending, it's a mix of an additive cement, so Portland 2, which is a standard cement, and that we mix with the existing soil here in Douala. It puts the land, and if we go elsewhere, like Kribi, for example, we will use sand, but we avoid gravel.
This extension of the Douala seaport is expected to be fully operational after the complete execution of the project within the 2-year deadline, that is, 1 year from now.
And now, following an increase in the price of fuel across the national territory, there are speculations that the cost of transport fare might also increase in most major cities in Cameroon and in the southwest region. The population say if transport costs are increased, it will only add onto the misery of the suffering population in the war-torn northwest and southwest. Davidson Maimo now tells us more about the situation which obtained in Limbe upon the announcement of the increase in the price of fuel in Cameroon.
In a region with a dwindling economy caused by the more than 5 years ongoing Anglophone armed conflict, the heat from the recent increase of fuel prices has already started manifesting, with transporters already indicating of a possible official increase of transport fare.
We try to increase our price because the petrol price have increased also from the station.
As they have added the petrol price, we have to increase
the transport fare so that we can meet up, because with the fuel increase, we cannot meet up.
We are still on our normal price as before, but as time will go, we'll increase the prices per the price of petrol. So that is our view.
The transporters argued the payment of vehicles document has witnessed close to 50% increase, coupled with a numerous security checkpoint which they allege extract money from them.
They have too much increase in the fuel, documents, and the clandestine vehicles are not allowed us to cope. From Limbe to Douala, I mean, you see 13 control. On all those 13 control, the government understand what those forces of law and order are doing. To see into our point, if they can reduce the numbers of checkpoints, then we can see that we can adhere to their point that the price is okay.
Some city dwellers in Limbe say it is evident the commoner shall suffer.
When transport is increased, it will affect standard of living, and even food stops in the market will also be, the basic commodities will also be affected.
Nonetheless, to mitigate the increase of fuel prices, the government of Mr. Biya has equally stepped up salaries of state workers by 5.2%.
Even as they say, they have increased salaries. Not everybody is a worker. If you look at the population which is not working, it is more than the population which is working. And I don't know how we are going to cope.
The government has not employed everybody. It's not everybody that government has employed. Maybe if government has employed A, B and C is suffering. The common man is the issue.
Everything being equal, the call from the commoner is for the government of Cameroon to have a rethink.
Meanwhile, drivers plying the road from Bamenda through Batibo to Equinoxe, they continue with their strike action, a sit-down strike action. They complain about several checkpoints which have been mounted by security forces, which caused them to spend more on their way from Bamenda through Batibo to Equinoxe. Smart Jikan Gabriel completes the story for us.
See any passengers wishing to travel either to Batibo or Equinoxe in the southwest region still remain stranded at their park in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. The drivers plying this stretch of road say they are tired of being harassed every day on different checkpoints.
A strike concerning many checkpoints, too much checkpoints on Bamenda, Batibo, Manfred, Equinoxe, Kumba Highway. We have, as transporters, they are there because we want them to feel the impact that if a person is leaving Bamenda to Batibo, which a fare is 600 and something francs by tariff, we are now paying 2,000 francs. Who do you think the blame goes to? Who do you think it goes to? They say that drivers are extorting money from passengers. But meanwhile, that money you collected from them, at the end of the day, you have nothing.
This driver says they are glad with what is going on because they have complained a lot to the authorities, but no solutions.
We have complained too much to the patterns that be concerning these numerous checkpoints, and nothing has been done. It's getting to 6 years that crisis is rocking this northwest, and we like transporters, we are there, struggling to manage that with transport people.
The drivers say it is not an issue of lack of car documents, that they are being scammed of their hard-earned money.
If you see among us here, they are all line leaders. We do our normal return that we check our documents before we load any car in the park. Any car that is loading, we check the document. So it is not an issue of even you have those documents or not. Brother, leave people the meaner.
The driver says so far as changes are not made, activities along this stretch of road will remain grounded and the passengers will be the ones to suffer.
And now 4 alleged separatist fighters have been killed in 2 different confrontations which occurred in the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. Smart Jikan Gabriel once again tells us the circumstances which led to those incidents.
It was another crowd polling day at Bisek Junction in Kumba Meme division of the Southwest region. The people of K-Town are struggling to glance on the lifeless body of an alleged separatist fighter known as General Transporter, with real names Ayokundifon. It was alleged that General Transporter was the one controlling Weme village, a locality found in Konye subdivision of Meme division. It was after a shootout between the group of General Transporter and State Defense Forces that he was gunned down. The senior divisional officer of Meme, Ndong Chamberlain, sends this message.
This man just behind me published a video challenging the forces of law and order, challenging all of us. He has been neutralized by our forces of law and order. That is a testimony. Those who are not willing to surrender and to join DT here, they are also going to be neutralized. Transporter is one of the main actors of the killing of Mother Francisca. You remember very well. That was the Transporter was inside. He was the one terrorizing the population along Kumba Mafe Road.
It is the third General Transporter that has been presented by soldiers in Meme division. The first was at Kusala roundabout and the second at Mbalangi. The population are now asking where the real General Transporter is found. In Bamenda, an alleged separatist fighter who is a commander and his assistant were gunned down by the military. It is alleged that the fighters were gunned down at Njimafo in the Bamenda 2 subdivision after attending a funeral. Unconfirmed reports say that after the killing of this alleged commander and his assistant, the woman believed to have called security forces to the site was also gunned down, bringing a total of 3 persons who were killed in Jimafo, Bamenda 2 subdivision.
And now, why are most women shying away from politics or political talks? That question was answered during a workshop which was organized today here in Douala by a National School for Local Administration to encourage women to get more involved in politics, especially women from the Northwest and Southwest regions. Let's now have more with Lucille Ingu Isie.
The participation of women in politics is largely shaped by cultural and societal barriers, which involves violence, discrimination, and illiteracy. Most women in Cameroon tend to shy away from politics. This, they say, is as a result of some factors.
I want to feel women shy away because most of the time women find themselves involved in so many things, and at times it's a bit complicated for them to create the time to join in. And also, when you look at the forward scene, like you look ahead and you see those who are there, it's mostly saturated by men, and they kind of mystify it.
We don't really shy away. The problem is that they don't give us the limelight. If we are given the limelight, we will prove that we have the capacity and we have the possibility to become better than the men who are there.
In order to enhance the political participation of women in Cameroon, particularly from the 2 English-speaking regions, the National School of Local Administration, NASLA, has organized a 3-day seminar. Party members from CPDM, SDF, and others were present.
As we all know, the Southwest and Northwest regions these regions have been plagued by a conflict, and this has affected in a great way the participation of women in these regions. And so it's important that we continue to boost the morale of women in these regions so that they are not left behind.
Approaching the senatorial election slated 14th of March, women have been encouraged not to relent their efforts but get involved into political activities. The participants say they recognize the relevance of the seminar.
The knowledge I'm going to get from here will help me to help my own women at my community level and divisional level to see politics as something that we can all do, especially as mothers, because we have a different approach and a different touch.
Those exchanges, I think their experience will impact my career in politics, first of all, and it will give me something to take back home to my locality. You know, I'm a woman and I intend to impact other women. Me being a politician is not for myself, it's for my locality, my community.
The seminar also grouped women who are leaders of civil society organizations and researchers in related fields.
And now out of Cameroon, the Holy Father Pope Francis is in his maiden visit to the African continent. He is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where he arrived yesterday. And there Pope Francis told the people of Congo to take their destiny into their hands and fight against hatred and violence. Innocent Azet tells us more about the apostolic visit of the Holy Father Pope Francis to the DRC.
Meeting with civil authorities on the first day of his apostolic journey to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Pope Francis addressed the most pressing issues affecting the African nation, which includes the ongoing conflict and economic colonialism, and urged the Congolese people to reject the violence. In his first speech upon his arrival to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Pope Francis decried the conflicts that continue to ravage the country and the reckless exploitation of its immense natural resources by foreign forces. While meeting with government authorities, civil society and the diplomatic corps in Kinshasa after his courtesy visit to Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi, the Pope urged the Congolese people to take their destiny into their own hands by rejecting violence and hatred. According to him, his visit is born from his desire to bring them the closeness, the affection, and the consolation of the entire Catholic Church, and that he is coming as a pilgrim of reconciliation and peace. Pope Francis went on to lament the exploitation that the Democratic Republic of Congo and the whole African continent continue to endure today in the form of economic colonialism, which he said is equally enslaving, making the Congolese people foreign to their own land. The Pope called on the world to acknowledge the catastrophic injustices committed in the past and for an end to the ongoing plundering of its natural resources. Pope Francis then turned to the international community, which he said has practically resigned itself to the violence devouring Democratic Republic of Congo, calling for a renewed effort to support development and peace in the African nation. He expressed immense gratitude to the countries and the organizations that are providing substantial aid in this regard, helping combat poverty and disease, supporting the rule of law, and promoting respect for human rights. Pope Francis also emphasized on the crucial role that religions and civil society are called to play in contributing to this richness by committing to building peace and of fraternity in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
So, report on the apostolic visit of Pope Francis to the DRC brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Thank you, viewers, for always being there. But don't go away. As usual, our programs continue. Sacha Langoto will be with you in the other side of the studio for your program Equinoxe Soir, and Julien Bet-Bussai will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Bye-bye for now. Thank you so much for always being with us.
Equinoxe Télévision, au-delà de l'image, nous rendons compte.